From high atop Mount Manitoba, the apex of where the Buchnerverse exists. Yes, NotInHallOfFame.com presents, how the hell did this go number one? But technically, this isn't really one of those things. I'm here, I'm Kirk Buchner. I'm joined with Andrea Tessmann and Brad Nelson. And we have a song where it's pretty goddamn obvious how the hell this went number one because it's pretty damn good. But there's always a story behind even the great ones. Is there
Every
not?
time you say high atop, I'm expecting somebody to like loom out of the background and say, look up, look way up.
Look up. Way up.
I could bring one of the dogs. Is that
suddenly the friendly
is this
giant
like a
is
Muppet
there?
thing that I didn't pick up on?
No, it's a friendly
No,
giant.
it's the friendly giant.
That's
You
a
need to hand
Canadian
in your
show, huh?
Canadian citizenship if you don't know the friendly
Oh,
giant.
I know the friendly giant. Hey, get your hand out of my ass.
Yeah, you had Jerome and Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty's the one who had his hand, who had some person's hand up his ass the whole time.
Let's put a chair for you.
Right down here by the fire.
Okay, now that we've lost everyone who's not Canadian. All right, I apologize. Obviously, Brad, it was you who picked this because Andrea sent something probably drunken in the middle of the night saying, what the hell are we talking about?
I mean, that doesn't preclude that I didn't pick it because my memory is basically two squirrels battling it out in a death cage.
And a trench coat.
Yes.
No, those two squirrels were the ones who sort of like power up your internet.
They are, yes, on my 8-year-old laptop that's probably riddled with viruses.
So we're doing Uptown Funk.
Mm.
Which wasn't going to be called Uptown Funk originally. It was going to be called Just Watch.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Yeah.
This is like a song that's going to survive, I think, forever. I think
Forever.
in 20 years from now, it's going to sound just as fresh as it does now.
It's going to because it takes so much from so many greats, you know. I mean, you listen to this and you hear James Brown, you hear Morris Day and the Time, you hear a bit of Prince. I mean there's just
didn't he actually get sued over this?
Well, we got sued a few times. So I thought I didn't think we were going there right away, but
well,
let's talk about the person.
Let's talk about the song itself. How did it go to number one? It went to number one because it was engineered to be a hit. There was nothing about this song that was not going to be a number one hit. You've got Mark Ronson.
He's a hit maker.
Yep. And
but a lot of people, let's talk about him. A lot of people
Bruno Mars. So
at
the time when this came out, though, Bruno Mars was just on hit after hit after hit. And Mark Ronson also, but he, as a producer, as you said, he's a hit maker. He knows the formulas. But this one just it's nostalgic, but it's forward looking, and it's bringing an incredible funk genre into modern relevance.
Yes.
I think it's also nostalgic for that group of people, but it's also forward thinking for people who don't know that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ronson, though, is an interesting person. I didn't know that much about him. So like when this song came out, I heard the name, but I didn't know who he was. I did not know until this deep dive just like how rich
prolific.
Well, that too.
Wait, he's a condom?
That's a prophylactic.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he's used many a prophylactic.
I don't know. He could be out there raw dogging it. But yeah, I mean, he was writing hits for Miley Cyrus, for Amy Winehouse, Duran Duran, Adele, Lily Allen, who I love.
But even before that, right? So he grew up like a rich kid from a family that apparently was, at that time, I don't know if they still are, one of the richest families in England.
Well, his stepdad is also Mick Jones.
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's be blunt here. Foreigner is not exactly
Listen, I don't know about you, Kirk, but I want to know what love is.
I didn't say that I didn't like some of their songs.
He wants you to show him.
I want you to show me.
Well, I'm no jukebox hero, but
True, you're not. Do you have one guitar though?
one guitar. And what are the other songs? There's so many others, and I can't remember.
Those are the two that I know off the top of my head right now.
Well, I'm gonna be hot-blooded until I think of one.
Oh, there you go.
But okay, but Foreigner was not exactly one of those bands that the critics loved, and I bring that up because he begged to become a disciple of Jan Wenner, who hated bands like Foreigner.
Oh.
Right. So at age 12, or he worked his way to become an intern. So the guy loved music, and it's one of those things where I don't want to say, look, here's a spoiled little rich kid, because yeah, we talk about spoiled little rich kids. We did that last time with Nelson, but sometimes they're just fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And
unlike Nelson, which is unfortunate because of the name. I mean, I have to wear that shame.
Well,
I mean, this rich kid, when they come from a musical dynasty, there's a good chance there's talent there. And honestly, you say that with Nelson, I still believe Nelson had talent.
Well, after
misplaced talent.
I respect your right to be wrong, and I will defend it to the death.
How very conservative of you.
Back to spoiled little rich kids.
Yes.
Spoiled little rich kid, Mark Ronson, who, okay, so he's a spoiled little rich kid. Fine. He's fucking talented.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So he just had the opportunity to show it easier than most.
So I think with Ronson, he has a bit of a formula. He really loves the retro feel, as does Bruno Mars, which is why I think this pairing was absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
they were.
With Ronson, you can tell with his music and a lot of his videos as well. I mean, I don't know how much creative direction he has in the videos, but the sound is retro. The sound will go back to, the 60s, sometimes the 80s, the 70s, for, different funk and sort of synth arrangements that he does. You'll wind up, you can hear the decade in a lot of his music.
He uses some sort of not a filter, but a effect on a lot of the synth that gives it a slight dissonance, which is a bit of a throwback to the old synths and like that.
Like the Korg and what have you, yeah.
It's just, there's a term for it, and I can't off the top of my brain remember what it is, but he uses a very specific synth pattern to create that old sound, like classic sound.
Yeah.
It's whereas digital sounds today are too perfect. So this kind of just adds a little bit of a grit to it.
Yeah.
Even though it's still perfect.
I didn't realize that he had co-written Shallow from Star Is Born until we started looking into him.
Sha-la-la-la-la. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved the whole movie. It was great. It was fantastic. Dug it.
Not as good as the original.
Still got a bit emotional.
It did get emotional. It did. Yeah. And actually, I did enjoy it.
We're not talking about Labyrinth. We're okay.
Hey, Labyrinth is a great movie, Kirk, and
you need to watch it. As long as we're not talking about it.
Don't diss.
No. Because I got emotional when I saw David Bowie's package.
Do not diss Labyrinth.
The Goblin King could kind of get it.
You're just jealous of David Bowie's package.
Oh, 100%.
Labyrinth, starring David Bowie's package. Yep. Also, David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
What did I just say? As long as we're not talking about it, and then we go and talk.
You brought it up.
Yeah, well, you can't say don't talk about Labyrinth because
don't go that way.
We never go that way. She'd have gone that way. She'd have gone straight to the castle.
For the people.
This is on you, Kirk. You're the only one who thought of Labyrinth. Okay, Mark Ronson. Also, his music production is very much get the take right, don't fix it in post-production. So he wasn't just going to record crap and then edit it so it sounded good. He wanted a good sound.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulled that out of artist, or still does. He's still active. He encourages feeling and depth to the performance so that he doesn't have to edit it to sound good.
Okay. So look, did we look at the lyrics?
Oh yeah, it was minor sort of like 80s rap bragging.
Well, well, yes. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of I don't know. I hate using the word privilege because I just use that, but that's
hey Julio, get the stretch.
Having said that, what I didn't really know, I mean, I knew this, but I didn't pay that much attention to it when it happened, was that this song was, I don't want to say ripped off, but it was definitely liberally borrowed. So you probably, like me, looked at what some of the songs. So it was sued by the Gap Band for their song "Oops Upside Your Head," and I didn't know that.
Upside your head, say "Oops upside your head."
Right. So like when I saw that, it's like I never heard that song from the Gap Band, but I saw "Oops Upside Your Head." I thought, I fucking guarantee it was the same riff. And
oh yeah, it really
identical.
Is.
Yep.
It's not even. There's no ambiguity here. This was colossally lifted off, and the Gap Band, correctly so, I might add, are now credited with co-writing credits where they get 17%.
Yeah, as well they should have, because I mean, if you put those two songs together, and nobody told you, you would expect the same person wrote both of those songs.
Now, a bunch of other groups did sue Ronson for this. I couldn't find if they actually won or not. I listened to all those songs in question. It's like, yeah,
tenuous, but yeah, I mean, you can hear James Brown in there. You can hear.
I believe James Brown. I believe that one did get something.
Yeah, but all of those groups sort of pretty much lifted everything off James Brown, because James Brown is the most sampled person in music history. That's
Godfather of soul,
that
man.
Is true. That's actually a fact.
But I mean, even in there, you've got very Earth, Wind, and Fire adjacent riffs in there as well. You know, I mean, it's heavily borrowed from the Grandmasters of Funk. It really is. Like, you've got all the bigs in that song. With
this being more popish, which was why it was a massive success. Piggybacking on Bruno, who at that point was, as I believe, Brad, you were saying, one of the biggest people on the planet.
I didn't say that much, but yeah, you mentioned that he was,
yeah. I was saying he was just hit after hit after hit.
Okay, but okay.
Did you guys look up Bruno's real name?
No, what's his real name?
Peter Gene Hernandez. So
we don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Peter Gene Hernandez.
I remember seeing Bruno as a kid.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because like he first started doing stuff on TV as an Elvis impersonator, as like this 3-4-year-old Elvis guy.
I was gonna say, isn't he like around the same age as you?
Yeah. Well, no, I think he's younger than me.
Younger, probably.
Yeah. So no,
everybody's younger than you, Kirk.
Fuck off. But that's
I think you guys are like 2 months apart, aren't you?
Something like that.
Well, everyone on this podcast is younger than me, so that is true. But yes, not everyone on this podcast looks younger than me. But anyway.
Oh, that's mean to Andrea. How dare you do that to her?
Why would you do that to me? Someone asked me the other day, like, why I gave up on aging.
Because it seems like a really overrated thing to do.
Right? I just said, no, I didn't give up on it. I spent a lot of money on the Tears of the Innocent, and they're getting harder to find.
There's a joke there. I'm just not going to do this here. But anywho.
Moving right along.
Yes, thank you. No, Bruno was a massive talent, bred for this before. I found it interesting too, like around that time when he really hit it big, how a lot of people just there was a bit of a backlash that he dealt with a couple times, because it just felt like every now and then people learned, holy shit, he's not black. which was,
I mean, did they ever look at any of his videos?
yeah, but it's not like he ever said he was. But
No,
it's just one of those weird things, especially in the ultra woke thing that we live in. Like this was happening actually before, like the last 2 years, and like there was a couple of videos going on where there were some people of color saying like he's appropriating. I'll put it this way, kids. I know we're 3 white people saying this, but if the musicians don't say that, then it's really not an issue. Fuck off.
I mean,
oh,
nope, we lost Andrea.
Lost Andrea. Usually that's not even remotely the most offensive thing I've ever said.
No, what'd you do? No, but I think you're 100% right in that he never really, like, when you heard him on the radio and what have you, there was no profession one way or the other of anything, and I don't think he was appropriating anything. The only thing that he maybe appropriated a little bit was some style and some sound from previous decades, but I don't think he went for any one particular artist.
But he always acknowledged everything he did.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so it wasn't like when, and I think we talked about this before, when Vanilla Ice, which is why he had that backlash, A, because he wasn't that good, B, because he said, like, I'm not appropriating anything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when, like, 5 years later, Eminem came out, and there was no backlash from any artist because he was that effing good.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, he was on point, without a doubt.
Yeah, and it goes the other way. I mean, I just saw Kane Brown in concert, who's half black, and there's no backlash, well, maybe just towards some rednecks, but not towards the country community, because Kane's legit.
Yes, that Kane fellow who does the country music.
I can't say that I know that much about it. It was my first ever country concert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like that's where the hell did she go?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
She was getting up to go and do something, so maybe she was getting food delivered. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's we'll blame the animals. She'll show up again. That's
like House of the Rising Sun.
There is a house in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think a little bit of heroin involved in creating that song.
We got to get out of this place as we continue.
Yeah, that's true. If it's the last thing we ever do.
Yeah.
So I think the pairing of Mars and Ronson on this, because they're both look backwards for their inspiration. They both look to decades past for their musical inspiration. I think it was. I mean, it took them a lot of takes to get it. A lot of the stuff was recorded in different places on the planet, and then it was all smushed together. But both of them, I think, have the same ear for not perfection, but their version of perfection. Like Andrea was saying before, Ronson goes and fuzzes his stuff out a little bit and gives it a little bit of imperfection in order to make it sound authentically retro. And I think Bruno Mars as well. I mean, with the guy's range, he's got a fantastic singing voice. I think he has high expectations of what he's going to put out there into the world. I was never a huge fan until Uptown Funk came out, and I quite enjoyed it. I mean, that's something you can bop along to.
Yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, we don't usually cover songs a lot that are 10 years or under. I don't have a problem that we picked this because this is going to last. I think everything we say now is not going to change if we were to revisit this in 10 years. I really feel that way.
You know how we had an electro swing sort of revolution? It was swing and electro swing sort of came back for about 20 minutes and then faded off into oblivion again. I'm really hoping that some good funk makes it back into our musical lexicon in the next little bit. Like, there's nothing better than a good bouncy driving bass line, horn section in there, and the whole 9 yard. I mean, it's fantastic.
I don't even know what we can possibly come up with that's really fresh.
We got to get George Clinton and P-Funk to come back and tear the roof off the sucker.
But Tear this mother out. There's, I think also too is we when we do the show, we're looking at stuff from the 60s and 70s and just how things have changed so much. This song could be a hit. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. But in 2040, could this still be number one? Probably. I don't think
In the
it's changed that much.
year 2525.
We've already done that one.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yes. We did. But yeah, no, seriously. I mean, like, you look at
If it hadn't already come out, if it would come out again in 2040 or whatever, yeah, I think it could be a hit because it looks back for its inspiration. It builds on the greats that came before it. Rips off a couple of people here and there. But something similar to that.
One for sure, according to the courts of the United States. But
yeah. But when you listen to it, you can hear the greats in there.
I saw that there's like other members of the Gap band, I guess family members who are still fighting for their piece of the pie on this.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I couldn't tell whether that had been dealt with or not. But yeah, I mean, like
I thought it had been long since settled.
That's what I thought too, and then it very well might be like citation needed, I guess. But yeah, this is. I guess I'm trying to think what came out first. This was after Blurred Lines, right?
I'm not sure if Blurred Lines had come out before this or
got the hell sued out of it by Marvin Gaye's estate, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the one from Stairway to Heaven? And I think it was Rainbow. I could be off on that. But really that they ripped that shit off too.
Yeah, but it was thrown out because it turned out that what was it? That Led Zeppelin had come up with it beforehand or something. I can't remember, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, hang on here. Well, I have the answer machine in front of me. What was the... No, hang on. I don't remember. Zeppelin lawsuit. Let's do that.
And while you're looking that up, another one that sort of came up where it was pretty... I don't know if it was a lawsuit that ever came out with that, but... It was,
Spirit had done the song called Taurus. Okay. And that it was supposed to be it was a ripoff for Stairway. And yeah, Led Zeppelin won the case in 2016, but it was revived on appeal in 2018.
Did you ever see the one? I don't even know if this went to a lawsuit or not. Joe Satriani. I don't know what the song it was, but it was what he did was clearly ripped off by Coldplay. Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. I don't know that song. It's Coldplay, so I don't know.
I like Satriani. I can't say that I've listened to more Coldplay than necessary.
Well, most of us, but I don't know the damn name of that song because I
was it Surfing with the Alien? That was one of his biggest ones.
No, I don't know what it was by Satriani. It was something Satriani did that was not a hit, but the exact song was like the whole riff was completely on Coldplay's biggest hit.
Oh,
like it's not even in doubt.
Well, maybe that's something we need to look into one day. Is how did this thing make it to court?
I'm not a legal expert, nor have I ever played one on TV. Or have I?
Well, I mean, yes. So many comments, so little want to be that dirty. But yeah, so I'm not sure what happened to Andrea.
Well, we lost her. Must have been something you said. It couldn't have been me.
No, because I wasn't the one talking at the time, though.
We don't know what message you would have sent. But yeah, well, we've got our little text box. So
yeah, so she's here in spirit.
She's here in spirit. Just has nothing to say apparently.
To wrap that up, though, Kirk, I understand you might be a bit of an author.
I am. And you can get that too on Amazon, Amazon.com.
Just in time for Christmas.
Oh, yes, yes. Chavo Guerrero, instant classic. It's about the late, great Chavo Guerrero Sr. Before he passed away, I helped him write his autobiography, so you can read about that. It's some pretty cool stories. Nothing about Bruno Mars or anything like that.
No.
No. But he did love his mariachi.
He did?
He did.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It is.
I still remember being in Mexico, and one of the guys who I was working on cruise ships with, the mariachi comes by, the whole band comes by. We're sitting eating at this little taqueria. It's fantastic. It was just, everything was, anyway, they get up there and they raise the instruments, and he says, I'm going to give you $20 to play anything but La Cucaracha. He says, play something traditional, because they'll walk up and down the street playing La Cucaracha and the tourists will tip them like crazy. He's like, here's $20, anything but La Cucaracha.
Yeah, that was actually in the Chavo book.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because Chavo's first big feud when he was wrestling in Los Angeles was against someone you may know, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah, I know Rowdy Piper. His best role ever was in They Live.
Absolutely. So Piper, he's feuding with Chavo, and so he says, I'm sorry because it was a huge Hispanic audience. So I said, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry that I insulted the Guerreros and all the fine people of Mexican heritage. So here are my bagpipes. I'm gonna do the Mexican national anthem. So he plays La Cucaracha.
Oh, geez.
Nice. And you can get that and more stories on Chavo Guerrero, instant classic.
Nice. I like the little bit of a teaser there, sort of like little abridged audio book going on for the listeners.
Yeah, too bad he's not with us anymore. That'd be pretty cool.
No doubt. So what else do you do when you're not hanging out with us reprobates?
I'm just working on all the images on the last show I just did with Chris Bernay, where we did this crap was on national television, where we looked at episode 12 of Battle of the Network Stars. We don't consider it crap. We were just having fun with it. So it's sort of fun looking back at who became stars and who didn't.
Nice.
Actually, yeah. With team captain William Shatner of ABC.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m.
Amazing. I'm just right now sort of like adding images where he's going in the kayak and he flips over, and I just kept thinking like somewhere George Takei was laughing his ass off.
Oh my.
Yes, because that was before sort of like he resurrected his career as I don't even know what you would call it, just sort of like everyone's happy gay uncle.
Oh,
I don't know what to call it.
George Takei, yeah, he had a bunch of stuff going on, like It's Okay to Be Takei. It was a positive.
What's that? Is that like
it was positive affirmations for like young gay people. Yeah, he did that. He did a bunch of TV cameos and stuff. I thought he had his own podcast for a time, and he might still. I'm not sure.
If anyone should, it's him.
He's got such a voice.
Yeah, I wish he would sort of like let the whole thing with Shatner go, but whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't grow. Well, he's bitter. He's bitter.
We didn't have to work together.
That's it exactly. I did think that he went a little bit too far. It's like when Shatner went up to space. It's like, okay, we get it. You're jealous, but like, look how well your career is done. And if at age 60 you would have been told that you would have been bigger than ever near 90, like just let it go, dude.
Yeah.
But
so you got the TV stuff.
I've got that.
You do some halls of fame, right? Like some sportsing things.
Yeah, the weekly show with Evan Nolan. We do where we look at halls of fame. Oh, look who decided to join us.
Sorry.
Right now we're in plugging thing. I don't know if you were being plugged while you were away, but anyway.
No, it was my aunt. No.
She could have joined us.
No.
Oh. Ants expired. I don't know if you saw that commercial, but anyway. All good. I just thought it was something I said.
No, I'm really sorry. I'm in like prepping to go on a 3.5-week trip, and she was dropping off something for me. And
3.5 tour.
Yeah. So speaking of that, for everybody who's listening or watching or whatever, We'd love to hear the number one songs you're kind of curious about, and maybe you should put it down there in the comments.
Oh, look at Brad. Look at him, Mr. Ford.
I just smash that like button and subscribe. Now, just the idea that there's some stuff that we haven't touched on yet. There's a couple of number one hits out there still that if enough people had some interest in it, we would probably look into it.
Well, I got a piece of shit for when we're next, but it's not me who picks next.
Is it me?
It ain't me.
It ain't me.
I'm going to wait for 3.5 weeks. Just cut me some slack. And
you got
how about
time
you
to think on it? In the meantime, put stuff in the comment box and we'll have a look at it.
Let us know what you want us to wax unpoetically about.
Yeah. So as we go on hiatus for the Christmas season.
No disco.
No, it's not disco.
No, I'm just saying they shouldn't ask for disco.
Oh, no,
and disco and musicals.
But when the show ends, it's going to be the Kirk Buchner presents the disco extravaganza of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, that's a great way to go out, taking my toaster for a swim on a podcast.
Well, you should be dancing. Yeah.
Okay, Kirk. Okay.
So since Andrea has nothing, here's what
we're gonna look deep into the eyes of some outrageous musicals then.
We might not. I might put a kibosh on this whole thing.
Kibosh.
So the Buchner verse, it's not Nelson Ageddon.
Nelson.
Are you getting it?
I'm getting it.
Thank you. I was hoping you were gonna pick up on that.
Of course. 80s hair metal. I'm gonna know.
Yeah, we hate disco, but hair metal is great. Okay. But anyway.
Yes, I have taste.
Well, here's something that we can both agree on. We're going to open up 2023 with a steaming pile of shit. One Bad Apple by the Osmonds.
Oh. So on our next episode, we'll be delving deep into incestuous relationships before Game of Thrones.
Did Donnie ever do Marie?
I don't think they ever admitted to it, but you don't look at your sister like that, man.
I don't think the world wants to know.
I for one
imagine the unholy
well, I don't know if it's a little bit rock and roll, but on that note, wherever you may be, the Buchnerverse, it says happy holidays, and we bid you adieu.
Bye, everybody. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.